Welcome back, everyone. So, for reasons I can't explain, I've become a little obsessed with Cabin Hideout. I know, a lot of you probably don't even know what this card does. For good reason, it's not great. It's a 2/5, 1 low block asset, unique so you can only have one of it in your stage. Form commit, build one card from your hand face down. It's got a deadlock enhance, look at the top card of your deck. That's pretty good. But as far as, threatening deadlock goes, not great. So we're mainly looking at it for the form, build one card from your hand face down. May have just torn a scab. Anywho, so why am I obsessed with this card? It's not great. I mean, it was introduced in Origins of Power, Attack on Titan Origins of Power, as a way to fuel their Outwit mechanic, which is a series of face-down foundations that unflip themselves when their trigger is met to do a thing. And the very first time I ever considered using this card outside of Draft or Sealed was in Smiling Titan. A friend of mine was an avid Smiling Titan player. Loved it. Kind of fell off when it got eroded because, is no longer big powerful. But when I taught him how to play the Rumbling with Smiling and how to curve his play towards that, kind of jumped back on the bandwagon a little bit. And I myself am testing a Smiling Titan Humanity Fights On variant, which actually uses Cabin Hideout, because I like being able to build a foundation at the beginning of my turn so that I can just string out wider. Plus it's an infinity, so it counts towards Humanity Fights On's difficulty reduction. Then I kind of went down a rabbit hole, and I thought, Pumat Soul is a character I was screaming about a long time ago when Massive Mutant Machine, henceforth in this video called 3M, was previewed. I said, hey, this guy builds 3M in for free? That's kind of stupid. And after Dramatic Slash rotated at the beginning of this year, he's kind of the only one who could do it. After Dramatic Slash rotated and Equipment Heist got banned. So Pumat's kind of the only one running around being able to play 3M pretty well. So that got me thinking, could I use Cabin Hideout and Massive Mutant Machine? So for those of you who might not know for some reason, Massive Mutant Machine is an asset from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. 7 difficulty, 5 control, no block modifier, but it does have Deflect 3, which means after the block step of your rival's attack, you can add Massive Mutant Machine from your hand to your card pool, face up, and give that attack -3 damage. It's cheeky. But the main thing is, Enhanced Commit, this attack gets +5 speed and +5 damage. That is a whole other attack's worth of stats that you're adding onto your attack. So Pumat can just build this in for free by removing a foundation. Cute. I had the thought of Beckett Mariner, Adventuring Archaeologist. So Beckett, the thing about the Cabin Hideout, is it's infinity, so it can be played in any deck, regardless of symbol. So Beckett Mariner, Adventuring Archaeologist, has a response that says once per turn, after your attack deals damage, unflip one foundation. Flip one rival foundation with difficulty equal to the unflipped foundation's difficulty. So if we commit Cabin Hideout, I keep wanting to call it Cabin Fever for some reason, probably because that's what I feel right now, constantly thinking about how to play this card, even though it's not a good card and it doesn't really deserve to see play. It's just, I was like, hey, what if we were able to build foundations at the beginning of a turn, kind of like what Queen of the Monsters is doing without having to play it on a 6. But yeah, this Cabin Hideout can commit build in a massive mutant machine face down. We can hit our rival with a throw with Adventuring Archaeologist, and then unflip the massive mutant machine. We don't get to flip anything on the rival stage because that's not the massive mutant machine is not a foundation. But we just got a massive mutant machine for free. So that's pretty good. And Beckett has some scaling damage. Once your rival has 3 face-down foundations, she just gives all of your attacks 3 damage. So if we're running like a half throws package, or even an all throws package to constantly unflip our own foundations, well, once per turn, so we don't need to play an all throws set. But Beckett's not the only character that could do this, because Alright, from now on, 3M is Massive Mutant Machine, Cabin Fever is Cabin Hideout. Because I'm not going to remember that stupid card's name. But Beckett's not the only character that can unflip cards. We also have Vexalia, Protector of the Wilds, Vex 2, yeah. Pretty good character. I've dabbled with an air build using, Storm of Arrows and Walk the Dogs. But Vex can flip a foundation after your ranged or weapon attack is not blocked, unflip one foundation. So you can also play Cabin Fever in Vex. And in Vex you get access to an air card that I can't remember. Is that spell tagged? It's ambush? Something ambush? It is not something ambush. It is an attuned air foundation from Origins of Power. Origins of Power. Let's pretend I'm a professional here. Jump into action. We get to add jump into action from our stage to our hand. Our attack gets 2 damage, and we get to build any card in our hand face down. We could pick up a jump to action, build in a 3M. And then if our ranged or weapon attack deals damage, we get to unflip 3M. There's a couple weapon attacks and ranged attacks that can either gain throw or automatically do damage. So let's look on our air, earth, and life symbols like Vex. This is a lot. I really should have prepped for this, but I didn't really know what to do for this video, because it's just kind of me rambling about a dumb idea. So we have Stormbringer, which is a throw weapon, and it gets us a little bit of healing. But if this deals damage, Vex says we get to unflip our 3M. That's pretty good. There's a couple other ones. And a lot of them are like Attack on Titan cards, so I don't remember the names of them offhand, because I did not care very much for a lot of the Attack on Titan sets, which is nothing against the design of them. I'm just not an Attack on Titan fan. A lot of the art blends together for me, and I can take or leave it. But you also have Blindside Slash, which has a blitz if it's completely blocked, still deals 1 damage. So even if they completely block it, we can unflip our 3Ms with Blindside Slash, which is pretty good. And then there's another one called Steady the Aim? Line up the shot. Blitz, if this is the only attack in your card pool, it gains throw. Throws always deal half damage, rounded up, even if they're completely blocked. Well, if they're completely blocked, they still deal half damage, rounded up. So if this is our first attack, we can just say, hey, it's got throw, and I used the form on Cabin Fever to build a 3M face down, or I used the enhance on jump into action, give this 2 damage, and build a 3M face down. So, a few more hoops to jump through than Mr. Pumat Soul, but I don't like Pumat Soul. I've got personal beef with Pumat Soul, so I'm not playing that dude. But it's just really interesting as to why am I like this? Why am I thinking about this? This all started with a bad asset that I honestly hadn't given any thought towards until I started thinking about like infinity-based humanity fights on decks and like that Smiling Titan build, which is part humanity fights on, because of the ability to just build a free foundation. A lot of people love playing Queen of the Monsters because A, it clears their card pool, which is great, but it also builds you a free foundation by building either any foundation from your discard pile at the cost of a momentum, or just building one of your attacks face down. But Cabin Hideout can be played in any character, and you don't have to play it on a 6. Granted, you have to play an asset. It's gonna be hard to find room for it. 1 low block's pretty nice, if we're talking about good things about this card. But being able to build a foundation, like, imagine if you're gonna play the foundation anyway, you can just build it face down. If you're not worried about the words on the card, and you're just worried about passing checks, you can just build any foundation from your hand face down at the start of the turn, and then if you had a way to ready this with like pristine swordplay, which can just blitz ready an asset that hasn't been readied, you can then just commit it and build another foundation face down. And some of the Outwit cards ain't too bad. Outwit. Military Tactics. Outwit. If your rival plays their 3rd or greater attack this turn, put it back in their hand. This says, get out of here to Titan of Terror. If they free form in their 3rd attack, you'd be like, ha, put it back in their hand. Or greater, so as long as it's at least their 3rd attack, you can just put it back in their hand and say, yeah, nice try. Bleak Commentary. If your rival draws a card during the combat phase, you can make them discard. Yelena's Machinations is probably one of the best ones, because it can keep flipping itself to fuel its own outwit. Adapting to the Plan. If your rival tries to reduce your speed, you get +4 speed. Battle Plan. If one of your foundations is committed due to a rival effect, they have to sacrifice a foundation. Risky Gamble lets you draw. Hard to Kill. If you take damage, you heal 2 damage. You get to gain 2 health. Buying Time's not great. Desperate Tactics. If your rival reduces the speed or damage of your attack, they have to commit a foundation, which is pretty good. And you could put in Titan Injection, which is just a I'm gonna survive card. It's Outwit, remove, spend a momentum before the damage step of your rival's attack, reduce it to your current health -1. So it will leave you at 1 if it would have killed you, which is good. We have an asset called Airy that does that as well. And you can only have 1 copy of Titan Injection in your deck. It's infinity, so just like the Cabin Fever, it can be played in anybody. But this is a neat little thing to just hide. You find your one of, you build it in, you don't have to worry about playing it on a 4 and then trying to flip it. You can just say, hey, I'm going to tuck it away here. So that's kind of cool. And let's see what else in Standard can just unflip things. Armin, we don't really care about. Keyleth can kind of do this as well, because she has air and earth just like Vex does, so she can gain some of the same unflip stuff. The water symbol with some of the Cowboy Bebop cards have some unflip synergy, so you could technically do the Cabin Fever 3M in Keyleth, because she can once per turn commit a foundation to unflip a foundation. And she has like the air symbol to do the jump into action attuned card. If you play her on water, you can get some of that unflip stuff. So you can do a lot of this flip unflip like a control style Keyleth. Now that I'm thinking about it, that kind of sounds cool. The commit to unflip is a first form, so you can't build in 3M and then unflip it with her form. But there are a lot of cool Earth attuned cards that get bonuses for being unflipped in Critical Role. So you could use the first form on that if you don't already have a 3M, and then you can just do a lot of the flip unflip kind of deal. So that's neat. And here's the suite of if things are unflipped. You know, if this is unflipped, draw a card. If this is unflipped, gain 2 health. Warden's Protection says after your rival flips one of your cards, you get to unflip a foundation. If this card's unflipped, gain a health. If this card's unflipped, your rival commits a foundation. This is really good to use in Keyleth. Because first form, I'm going to commit this Woodland Distraction that's face down, and then I'm going to unflip it. Tenacious, you commit a foundation. It's a 6 check, it's a 2 low block. This is a really good card for Keyleth. Ronnie, I do not remember how to say this woman's name, but she can flip a foundation to unflip a foundation, kind of just a 1-for-1. Fern can unflip a foundation if you mill a spell after your attack deals damage, and then your spells get 2 damage, and they also get 1 speed if they have the fire symbol, which is pretty good. Garrett Brett can just once per turn unflip a foundation and gain a health as a form. So you could form with Cabin Fever, build in your 3M, then form with Garrett, gain a health, unflip 3M, so you're already good to go. And then once per turn, you just get to put any card from your rival's discard pile into their card pool, which is disgusting. That's really, really cool. So you're clogging their card pool, and you have 3M. That's pretty funny. And I haven't found a way to play Garrett Brett yet, so maybe I'll play a Cabin Fever Garrett Brett. Already looks like he's chilling back on a bed, trying to figure out how to leave the cabin. Hiding Out commits and flips itself to unflip 1. Wielding One for All can unflip a foundation. And here's the 2 Cowboy Bebop cards that can unflip foundations on life and water symbols combined. First Enhance for Fallen Angel's Revenge, spend a momentum, unflip 2 foundations. That's pretty good. And then Falling Heel Strike can just unflip any foundation to give itself 2 speed. So it becomes a 4-high-4 with stun 1, which is pretty good. And then if I unflipped a 3M, it could be a 9-high-9 on a 4-diff with stun 1, which is disgusting. Yeah, not gonna go too long in this video, because, I mean, what do you say about Cabin Fever? It's not great. Let's see what kind of things can even deal with assets right now. A lot of ceiling assets. Bishop. If you check Cabin Fever and Bishop, you can build it, I guess. Donnie says if you block with Cabin Fever, you could build it, and then you get +1 damage for each asset in your stage, which is nice. But I don't think either of these have a lot of ways to unflip anything on the void or evil symbols or the good symbol. Destroying assets. You can sack your own assets. It's treated as an asset. Pick up a weapon asset. No. Add any asset with a difficulty 3 or less from your discard pile to your hand. That's neat. We could do that. We're not going to worry about committing assets to pass the checks to play this card, because we're committing it to build a card. Committing assets counts as an asset, Damage for assets, fine. I'm just mainly trying to look at things that can, like, search them or build them. So, like, Dawning Horror, flip, spin of momentum, add an asset to your hand. Get damage if you have 2 or more assets or backups. Anti-Titan Artillery. I hear he's a swell guy in Critical Role. I just have personal beef. That guy gave me the worst migraine trying to build him and Terry and Darrington for the day zeros for Critical Role. I had to go back and build this dude twice because they were basically the same deck. And it gave me a migraine. Tarian can build one for removing a momentum. Bedazzled Helm Blast is neat. This is kind of something I thought of playing in, like, the Vex, because you've got the asset for Cabin Fever, you got 3M, so if you could put a lot of, put those assets in there, give him a little extra speed, and then commit a 3M to give him 5/5, and then deal that powerful 5, that could be a bonkers kill card. I can weapon assets. Dodie can commit to ready another asset, so you can ready Cabin Fever or 3M, which is kind of neat, and also has the infinity symbol. Destroy rival assets, ready an asset. Sacrifice an asset for X damage. X equals the printed difficulty of that card. If you have a backup and an asset, your attack gets 1/1. Choose an asset in your discard pile. If its difficulty is 2 or less, you may discard 1 card. If you do, build it. It's fine. Building assets and readying them from the card pool. Destroying assets. Here's a cool one. You may remove assets from your stage as though you were spending momentum to pay the cost of this attack's powerful ability. Powerful 3. That's not bad. We just dump, we build a couple of things with Cabin Fever. We 3M it to make it unblockable, and then remove all of our assets in addition to whatever momentum we might have to spend for the powerful. Scrap Cannon becomes a hell of a dunk. Airy, cute. Okay, so I think with the advent of backups, assets have kind of fallen by the wayside. So not a lot of support to pick them up, move them around and stuff. But yeah, I just thought I'd come on here and complain about the brain worm that I've had for freaking Cabin Hideout for some reason. I like the idea of just, like, first form, build a card from my hand so I have more foundations to string out a kill turn. Or hiding key pieces like 3M and unflipping them later. I think it's a really neat kind of space to look into and experience, and I've definitely got a couple decks in the works experimenting with it. But what do you guys think? Am I crazy? Am I as crazy as I feel like I am? Because I feel like I'm pretty crazy for kind of having my head wrapped around this obviously not great card. So maybe it's just me and I'm grasping at straws because we've had such a limited... We have a much slower release window for new products right now, which is great for the wallet and great for, like, metas to kind of slow down and shake out a little bit. But for someone like me who needs constant stimulation and new information, it leaves me feeling kind of, like, stretched thin. So maybe my brain's just latching onto something cool that no one's talking about or dealing with, and like, hey, see if you can make this work. And I found a few cool things to do. So let me know in the comments below what you think. If you made it this far through this rant, thank you. You're the real ones. So leave a like on the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.